Hawksbay Beach was a beautiful place, known for its calm waves and serene surroundings. However, there was one spot that no one dared to visit at night: the haunted hut. This small, lonely building stood far from the other beach houses and was never rented out. It had a scary reputation, and everyone in the area knew the stories about it. The hut's bad reputation started many years ago when a group of teenagers decided to spend the night there. They ignored the warnings from the older folks, laughing at the tales about Jinnat, or supernatural beings, who supposedly held their weddings there during full moons. But as the night went on, their laughter turned to screams. By morning, the hut was empty, their belongings scattered around, and the teenagers were never seen again. This event spread fear throughout the village. Over the years, a few more brave people tried to spend the night in the hut. Each time, the results were the same. Some ran away in terror, talking about horrifying visions. Others were found dead, their faces twisted in fear. The villagers, once skeptical, now believed the hut was haunted by Jinnat, who did not like humans intruding on their space. One full moon night, a curious journalist named Rafiq decided to find out the truth. He was determined to uncover a logical explanation for the stories. With his camera, notebook, and strong will, Rafiq entered the hut. The villagers watched him with a mix of pity and fear, knowing he might not return. Inside, the hut was cold and empty. The air felt heavy, as if filled with sadness. Rafiq set up his camera and started taking notes. As the night went on, he heard whispers that he tried to ignore. The air grew colder, and the whispers got louder, turning into clear voices. Shadows moved on the walls, making shapes that seemed almost human. Rafiq's camera only showed static, and his flashlight started to flicker before going out completely. Panic set in as the voices became louder. He felt like he was being watched. Desperately, he grabbed his notebook, but all his notes had disappeared. The pages were blank. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and a woman appeared in the moonlight. She looked sad and beckoned to Rafiq. Mesmerized, he followed her outside to the beach. There, a ghostly song filled the air, coming from nowhere and everywhere. The woman led him to a circle of stones where other ghostly figures were dancing. Rafiq realized he was witnessing the Jinnat's wedding. The supernatural beings, beautiful yet frightening, stared at him angrily. The woman who brought him there stood beside a tall figure, clearly the groom. Rafiq had intruded on their special ceremony, and they were not pleased. The Jinnat started to move toward him, their eyes glowing. In a final, desperate attempt, Rafiq tried to run, but he couldn't move. The last thing he saw was the hut and the woman's sad eyes before everything went black. The next morning, the villagers found Rafiq's lifeless body. Another person had fallen victim to the hut's curse. From that day on, the hut remained untouched. The villagers spoke of Rafiq in whispers, his story adding to the fear surrounding the hut. They believed more than ever that the hut was a gateway to another world, a place where humans were not welcome. The moon continued to rise and fall over Hawksbay Beach, but the hut stayed in shadows, a reminder of the mysterious and dangerous forces just beyond human understanding. A few months later, a team of paranormal investigators heard about the haunted hut and decided to explore it. They came with advanced equipment and a lot of confidence. The villagers warned them, but they did not listen. They believed they could handle any supernatural presence. The investigators set up cameras, motion sensors, and audio recorders around the hut. As night fell, they began to feel the same coldness and hear the whispers that Rafiq had experienced. Their equipment picked up strange noises and shadows, but nothing could prepare them for what was to come. Around midnight, during a full moon, the hut's atmosphere changed drastically. The whispers turned into loud chants, and the shadows grew darker and more distinct. One of the investigators, a woman named Sarah, saw the same ghostly woman that Rafiq had seen. She followed her outside, despite the warnings from her team. Outside, Sarah witnessed the same eerie wedding ceremony. The ghostly figures danced around the circle of stones, their eyes glowing with a mix of sadness and anger. When Sarah realized she was intruding on their sacred event, it was too late. The jinnat surrounded her, and she could not escape. The next morning, the investigators found Sarah lying motionless near the hut. They packed up their equipment and left, shaken by the experience. They confirmed the stories about the haunted hut, but no one could explain the mystery behind it. Since then, the hut has remained empty and undisturbed. The villagers continue to share the stories of those who dared to enter, keeping the legend alive. Hawksbay Beach remains a beautiful place during the day, but as night falls, the haunted hut stands as a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that inhabit it.